What's up, motherfuckers? This is Deluge. Yeah, so today I decided I'd talk about this guy, Lavender Candles, a YouTuber that makes video essays about mental health, like sex education, basically anything he fucking wants. I don't know. I remember him as Lavender Coffee, only doing videos related to sex education, but it seems he's kind of changed a bit. Whatever. I've only watched like 2 of his videos, the first one being a Q&A. We already know what a Q&A is, and the only thing out of that video is that he hates chips. The second video I watched was this. This video is complete bullshit for a very specific reason. Candles is not qualified to talk about this. Not only that, but he did no research on the individuals defended in the video, the characters he talks about, or even the aspects of franchise he doesn't understand. I'm going to tell you why as we watch a very misinformed individual delve into topics they don't understand. Just a quick thing before we start. I'm not trying to frame Candles as an anti-woke grifter. I'm mostly under the impression that he's incredibly misinformed and got his sources from the wrong people. I do not think he has any ulterior motives with this video, but it can indirectly be seen as enablement of grifters to keep manipulating their audiences and profiting off of outrage. With that being said, let's jump right in.
Woke Hollywood. It is physically impossible to log onto YouTube. It is physically impossible to log onto YouTube and not come across the trove of channels speaking this rhetoric. I'm talking about your standard MCU, bashing Kathleen Kennedy, and the downfall of woke Disney. Believe that. It's easy to fall into this kind of content, especially as a young man who's watched legacy characters.
Sorry, do you mean original characters? You're misusing the term legacy character to refer to the people who used to hold the mantle. When people like Riri Ray and that other woman are legacy characters, you're basically saying Jay Garrick's replacing Barry Allen as the Flash. It makes no sense. And no shit, Candles got this definition confused. Nerdrotic actually calls old characters legacy characters because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So I think you're getting your information from him, man. Just check your words before you speak them.
Get replaced with watered-down versions of their favorite superhero, Jedi, Prince. For years, these channels have been signaling the end times for the entertainment industry. But do these guys actually have an argument, or are they just appealing to their overwhelmingly right-leaning fan base?
If they do have an argument, it's just a bunch of dog whistles and euphemisms for marginalized groups such as The Message, Modern Audiences, and also, of course, Modern Hollywood. These people hide their bigotry behind coded language and wear masks rather than wear their colors proudly. Something right-wingers are nowadays kind of doing, unfortunately. To answer your question, it's the latter.
Short answer, it's complicated. It's 2019. Everyone is blissfully unaware they were about to enter one of the worst pandemics in the last century. But until then, we're all casually enjoying our entertainment. The last Star Wars movie is about to come out, after all. Oof. Yeah, it turns out it's not great.
Why are you guys going off the critic scores? The audience score is right next to it, and surprise, surprise, most people who saw this movie left a review and liked it. If you don't know already, Rotten Tomatoes requires you to purchase a ticket to a movie and scan it before reviewing, making sure people actually watch the damn film and don't review bomb out of spite or what grifters pretending to be the actual movie reviewers say about it.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a film that rings this hollow.
Okay, so you do know the difference between the critic and audience scores, because this is a good example of a bad movie that people actually hated. Quick question. If you knew about this, then why the fuck did you use Rise of Skywalker? Oh, I know why. See, grifters will use Rotten Tomatoes for the critics' scores to justify their hatred of said movie and claim nobody likes it, but they pay no attention to this teeny tiny little thingy right here, because it instantly disproves their nobody likes this movie argument. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not trust the critic scores. Instead, actually listen to people who actually watch the movie via the popcorn meter, and don't listen to those who constantly use the critic score of a said popcorn meter. Critic reviews are more corporate than people defending a movie a grifter said was too woke. And grifters like to call those people shills just for having the audacity to like and defend something they don't. Somehow I thought conspiracy theorists were looked down upon.
Okay, you'd be hard-pressed to find 2 films that ring this hollow.
Having laid this information upon you, Candles is only showing movies with low critic scores, and paying no attention to the audience scores. It seems like you're watching the wrong people to do your research on.
Alright, I get it. In The Rise of Skywalker, character actions feel forced, dialogue is insincere, and one of the largest film franchises in the world goes out with a whimper. But there's a small group of people upset over something else. They're upset over the fact that the main character of this film feels invincible. She can do this thing called force healing, where she just kind of puts her hand on something and it gets better. Like it's a boo-boo kiss or something.
Bold of you to say that. Actual Star Wars fans know that boo-boo kiss has been a thing since Splinter of the Mind's Eye in 1978. That was a book written 1 fucking year after A New Hope and way before the movie came out. Let's be real, I'm no saint when it comes to Star Wars or any of its sequel stories and TV shows, but it took me literally 10 seconds on Google to look this up. Research is necessary, just do it. Read ancient texts, because guess what, that's exactly how Rey learned to force heal. She learned in practice while looking at ancient Jedi texts. It's literally in the lore.
She's hardly had any training at all, yet she can
I debunked that shit 10 seconds ago.
And also, she doesn't do anything wrong, ever. Okay, there was one moment where she did do a massive fuck up. You know, they actually gave her like a moral dilemma, but it was reversed about 10 seconds later. A lot of people have a problem with the character of Rey. She's a character that was written into the Star Wars universe with a backstory extremely similar to the franchise's OG protagonist, Luke. Growing up not knowing her parents, on a desert planet, runs into a droid who's looking for someone important, and by the end of the film, she's a Jedi.
Yeah. It's a fucking mainline Star Wars movie. What do you expect her to do? Not carry Luke's legacy and stop the Empire? You can criticize a lot of little fuck-ups in the sequel trilogy. Voss, for example, the dictator-looking guy from the last film, turning out to be a spy and getting killed right after. That's something actually worth criticizing. I fucking hate that. It's not really criticism to point out the similarities between a legacy character and an original character. If anything, it's obviously going to be that way.
Feels a little familiar. She's a character written with the intention of replacing an older character without really changing anything. She's also awesome at everything, immediately.
Reach out.
I feel something.
You feel it?
Yes, I feel it.
That's the force.
Really?
Wow, it must be really strong
Oh,
with
I've
you.
never felt any... Ow!
You wanna repeat that?
It's a trend that isn't that uncommon in modern blockbusters. Minority characters written with zero struggles.
Watch Moonlight, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Crazy Rich Asians, and Ironheart, and then come back to me 5 minutes later. No, actually, no. Why don't you give me some examples of white characters with struggles?
Unless you count their struggle to stand out from their non-minority counterparts. Rey, Mulan, Ironheart.
This is the only other time he will mention Riri in this video. Yeah. I genuinely wonder why. Stick around.
There's a lot of examples we could get into, but I think you get it. This is where Hollywood finds itself today, propped up by just a few legacy IPs.
Wait, so you do or you don't know what legacy means? I'm fucking confused. My mind's boggled right now.
Struggling to continue these mega franchises with their shiny new characters they cooked up in the writer's room. But none of them are really grabbing the attention of the general public like they used to. And these films often severely underperform.
You want to know something I recently learned at the box office? How much money a film grosses is not public information. The rough estimates you see in Wikipedia sections are just that. Rough estimations. And you want to know who gives most of these rough estimations? Deadline, who use themselves as a source. So we don't actually know how much films are making because it's not public information and the stuff we get is just a fucking guess.
Because of this, it's become a really popular trend to dunk on these big studios and laugh at their failures. The MCU is dying, Red Arrow. Disney goes woke, goes broke, crying. Star Wars is trash. I hate sense. It's a very popular sentiment, and a very lucrative one, at that. At least in America, a lot of the people who lean politically left will claim these films are financially failing because the audience is just too racist, too sexist, to fully appreciate their characters.
Yes, because we 1% elite leftists, we call everything racist because we can. You know, it's totally not a reason to do so or anything. I think you're forgetting the fact that we aren't calling people racist or sexist willy-nilly. You're just not liking certain diverse legacy characters. If that were true, me not liking King Bach's character in The Babysitter... Hold on, what the fuck's his name again? Okay, John. That's his name, John. Yeah, if what you said was true, me not liking John would be recruited by a group of neo-Nazis. What we're actually trying to say is, it's because a grifter is a bigot that they dislike these characters. Purely hating a character for being a certain race or sex is not real criticism of said character, and it's not a legitimate reason to hate them. I mean, I hate John in The Babysitter because he's an annoying piece of shit. Not because King Bach or Batch is black. And who cares if the character is portrayed by a confident person of a certain minority group? I don't give a fuck. I only care that they play the character well and don't fuck their portrayal up. Why should race matter in this conversation? I know why. Because grifters are actually racist and don't want to admit it. So their audience does it for them in the comment section. You wanna say your little N1663Rs in the comment section again? Little Timmy?
After all, we spent so much time and money to give them original backstories and personalities. Not, why won't you watch them? And the response from the right is mixed. Yes, there are genuinely some people who hate to see minority characters take up the screen.
Including the people you're defending.
Sure, but is that really the case for everyone who didn't watch The Acolyte?
No. But if you didn't even watch The Acolyte, you don't have a legitimate reason to criticize it because you didn't fucking watch it. Like, come on. You think I'm gonna trust someone with film criticism if they didn't watch the fucking film they're criticizing? No, dude, come on. That's basic common sense.
And look, speaking of Star Wars, I just have to say this. Finn, the Stormtrooper, was the most wasted character of all time, and this pisses me off to no end.
Oh shit, something I actually agree with. Nice.
Like, this is an actually good, interesting minority character, and they didn't do anything with him. The idea of a Stormtrooper turning good is something we have, never seen in Star Wars up until that point. They touched on it a little bit in The Force Awakens and didn't do anything with it after that. It really sucks because John Boyega was a great actor in that role, and he didn't get to do anything. The moral dilemma presented with a Stormtrooper that's defected against the Empire sounds like such a layup of a story, but Lucasfilm just didn't do anything with him, and I will never forgive them for that. I would watch a standalone film that retcons his importance in the new trilogy. It could be done extremely well. How did we get here? How did we stumble into a Hollywood that is completely out of touch with everyone outside of California?
Oh, you're really gonna go there? You really gonna fucking go there? God damn it, dude. Ignoring the minor defensive yell and doing the sea Kyle, Hollywood is located in California, and it's obvious they would be more in touch with Californians since they're from California, and are located in Los Angeles, the biggest fucking city in California. Like, why do you think Stan Lee bases all of his stories in New York? He's from New York. That's what was around him at the time. And guess what? Not all films in the US are made in Hollywood. Okay? Indie films. You can make a film literally anywhere. Alright? Film production companies are all over the US. But I swear on your dad's Tim's, if you're using Hollywood as a euphemism for the American movie industry in general, why would you do something so brave yet so fucking stupid?
It's hard to define a singular point in time, a singular film, that started this cascade of movie flops. But one way to look at it is the evolution of the Me Too movement. For the unfamiliar, #MeToo started back in 2017 when they caught Weinstein, and people started to come forward about the things they'd been through. A very good movement. It allowed people to take a more critical look at Hollywood, corporations, and entities who use their wealth and power to silence other people. That last one is the one we have to pay attention to. As this movement carried on, there was a bigger push for more diverse voices in our entertainment. Suddenly, you had blockbusters like Black Panther smashing the box office, riding the highs of an MCU in its prime. Even before 2017, the new Star Wars trilogy got started, with Rey as the impervious protagonist. So maybe it wouldn't be right to say this trend was completely started in 2017, but the Me Too movement definitely accelerated it. This was also in the middle of Trump's first term, and the left reacted to this change by moving the needle even more to the left.
What do you mean by that?
If the right side of politics was going to get more extreme, the left would match it in Hollywood.
By letting actors of different minority groups that are proud to be part of said minority groups get work acting in big budget movies? Sorry, that left in 2017 was just as extreme as the right? The same right that shoots up gay bars? That restricts rights for trans people? That want to kick brown people out of the country because they're brown? That want Trump to run for a third term? The same right that supports a twice impeached convicted felon who shut down 4 casinos and allegedly racially discriminated guests in his hotels and actively support his failing presidency? The left in 2017 was as extreme as that fucking right? Stop watching these videos, they're running your fucking brain. I bet you already have a worm trying to work its way in there, in that fucking noggin of yours. I seriously recommend, no, demand that you do your fucking research before making a video like this, defending the talking points of literal manipulative faux critics who sell outrage to the impressionable. You're enabling them to do this shit, dude. Stop. Like, if you actually knew what those guys were saying, you probably wouldn't be fucking defending them right now.
A bigger push to become morally superior, whether they had good intentions or not. Companies like Disney were starting to contend with their history. A history of films with stereotypical characters who didn't do a very good job of representing minorities. And okay, I already did the Finn rant. Now I have to rant about Baljeet in Phineas and Ferb. Pro tip, don't go back and watch this show. Cause...
You are measuring the radius in centimeters, right?
No, inches. That way the inch fractions work with pi is 22/7.
You do not use 3.14 for pi.
Fun fact, Baljeet was actually voiced by this guy. He doesn't look so white, does he? He's also gay. You could have used Apu from The Simpsons. He's voiced by a white man. You could have used that to make your point. You know what else? You could have done your fucking research. But guess what? He's actually respectful with the portrayal. Apu's actually envying for how talented, fancy, kind, and caring he is to his peers. I recommend, if not really a big Simpsons fan, you don't know much about Apu, I recommend watching the Apu that I know from Max G, because that's a pretty good fucking video. Sure, it does have some dated humor in it, but whatever. It's still really good and shows Apu to be actually a pretty good person.
I mean, the stereotype is right there. And it's kind of crazy they were allowed to get away with this.
With animated characters, I don't think it really matters what voice actors you use for certain characters, as long as you're not doing the most, like, stereotypical accent known to man. But the point is, you don't have to be the race of the character you're playing to give them life. It can enhance the genuinity of their identity, yes, but it's a fucking cartoon, dude. Anything's possible. You think I'm a fucking pufferfish with one eye? No, I'm an 18-year-old struggling through a fucking gap year.
The voice, bro, I can't.
That's very clever, Baljeet.
This is great. Now that I have made both choices, I will no longer miss.
I didn't even, like, nobody even questioned it when it was airing. We didn't question it at all, because it was just a different time. But looking back on it now, I am so curious as to whether or not they're going to change his character, or at the very least his voice, in the reboot.
Revival. You give another season to a long-dead show, it's a revival, not a reboot. A reboot is a reimagining of said series. To answer your question, no, Baljeet's not getting his voice changed anytime soon, alright? Though some did. An example's Marshmallow from Bob's Burgers. She's a trans prostitute who comes to the Belcher's restaurant from time to time and is probably really good friends with Bob. She was voiced by David Herman, a white guy doing a black guy impression, but got replaced with Jari Jones, an actual black trans woman. And guess what? I never even noticed the difference.
I don't think they will, and I don't hope they do, honestly. Yes, it's stereotypical, but I don't know. I'd like to know if this was actually, if anybody actually found this characterization offensive. Obviously, I didn't back in the day, because I'm not part of that minority, but...
You can still dislike a stereotype while being a white guy, you know that, right? Like, you don't have to be fucking offended personally in order to not like a stereotype. What the fuck kind of logic are you speaking in?
Is it something that should be changed? As this movement continued and the culture war raged on, people started to notice the cracks in the system. These new characters weren't really sticking with people. Why not? After all, you're getting more from your favorite franchises. Well, there was one teeny tiny thing companies like Disney forgot to account for. They forgot they needed to write good characters.
Hopefully you actually mean condemning badly written characters and not just using deflections by people to prove they aren't bigoted. But let's hear him out before coming to conclusions. Because, you know, I'm a forgiving man. I like to be forgiving every once in a while.
This is really the crux of the entire argument, so I'll just come right out and say it. Most people don't hate to see women in power. They don't hate a minority character taking center stage, but what they do hate is bad writing. Let's go through some examples. Captain Marvel. I remember people absolutely hating the way they portrayed this character. I mean, the movie made over $1 billion, but that was because it came out right after Infinity War and before Endgame, so it doesn't really count. Now, the real reason people hate Captain Marvel as a character is because she's written to be extremely competent, but without a real struggle to get there.
My brother in Christ, if you watched the damn movie, you'd know already that Carol Danvers had her life stolen and she was turned into Veers by the Kree Empire and used as a soldier before getting her memories used by the Skrulls to locate Earth, and she gets them back. Therefore, she realizes that the Kree are evil and wants to stop them from doing it to anyone else.
The plot of the movie goes a little something like this. Carol Danvers is a pilot, she gets blasted with the blue Kool-Aid, severely limit her power using a chip in her neck, because they're afraid of what she can really do.
Could I speak to the guy who taught you to summarize stories real quick? Just a quick second. You're ruining my boy, Gary. You're ruining him. Stop teaching them this stuff.
Pretty heavy-handed messaging. But Captain Marvel doesn't grow as a character. She doesn't do anything to deserve this power.
But she does prove her worthiness by destroying the Kree. Do your research, use your brain, and shoo the fucking worms away.
It's a really similar arc to the first Thor movie when you think about it. The movie begins with the hero losing their powers. Captain Marvel loses her powers because reasons.
Yeah, reasons. It's not like there's some shit out there like, I don't know, Kree psych magnetron, or she got her powers from it, or something like that. Yeah, that's totally fucking unreasonable. Who the hell would think that?
Literally a chip in her neck, a completely external force. Thor, on the other hand, loses his powers because he's no longer worthy of his powers. And over the course of the film, he grows as a character and learns how to protect people.
So does Carol Danvers? What point are you trying to make here?
Then he gets them back. The difference is, Thor earned it, and that's why we like his character and not Captain Marvel's. Another good example is the Mulan remake. I'll be real, I didn't even see this movie, but I know.
Wait, what? Wait, no, we're not skipping over that. You didn't even watch the movie? This is literally like your example about people not watching The Acolyte. Like, how can I trust you to criticize this film without you fucking watching it? Yeah, I think I know what's going on here. You're using people's reviews as substitutes for the movies. So maybe you're not fucking sucking up to grifters. Maybe you're just lazy, to be honest. Except I'm not being honest because you're still sucking up to grifters. It's just you're being lazy while doing it. Which is fucking worse, to be honest. Therefore, I will be skipping over this entire part because you do not know shit about the film. Nor do I.
Because Disney, more so than any other of these companies, is afraid to portray a minority character as somehow weak.
Can you say the same thing about Disney like 20 years ago?
Even if they will grow out of that weakness over time. The pattern here is that these characters are strong female characters first and strong characters second. People can tell the difference. Stop treating them like they're idiots. There's a famous quote by actress Emily Blunt. Quote, "It's the worst thing ever when you open a script and read the words, strong female lead," she says. "That makes me roll my eyes. I'm already out. I'm bored. Those roles are written as incredibly stoic. You spend the whole time acting tough and saying tough things," unquote.
True, however, Emily doesn't speak on behalf of all actresses. Some actresses might just like playing those roles, and you can never be too sure a role is going to be awful until you read the dialogue for said character. If it's just a couple lines of "I'm a strong woman," that's fine. However, if it's annoying about it, I could see why some actresses don't want to play those roles. Still, this shouldn't speak for everyone. I mean, I guess if your agent is overusing a role type for you, you should probably fire him and get a new one, but that's just me. I'm not an actor, I don't know what the fuck the process is.
Clearly, she's been in enough roles where the only screen direction was to look tough.
Tell that to her role in The Devil Wears Prada where she gets hit by a car. Or Tatlock, who kills herself in Oppenheimer.
That's not how you write female characters, come on. Now, can you have a female character who's actually physically strong? Yes, you absolutely can. Edge of Tomorrow. Emily Blunt's character is a battle-hardened soldier who's been through actual hell. At one point, she acquired this Groundhog Day-esque ability where she could repeat the same day over and over, the same battle over and over until they won. But she lost those powers, and that affects her character in the modern day. That's actually an interesting character development, and she earned her power and skills. She's not just badass because she had to fight this fight for years. She lived that same day thousands of times. Of course, it's going to change her views on mortality. There's another aspect of this that I want to mention. Recasting traditionally white characters as a minority.
Which is completely fine. Well, as long as the actor chosen plays the role well enough to embody that character or give a strong performance.
Or gender swapping them. At first, I didn't really have a problem with this, like, at all. But now, I'm kind of against it. Hear me out. I don't think white characters need to be protected or anything. We have the privilege of not needing our characters to remain representative of our group, and we're lucky for that. No, my main issue with this is fulfilling a diversity quota not by writing a strong character, but by shoving them into a pre-existing one. By doing that, these studios are doing two things. Number one, they're admitting that they don't know how to write a character of that minority, and two, they're admitting that they don't think a minority character is strong enough to stand on their own.
Okay, but picture this. What if a young black woman wants to be, say, Stephanie in a Short Circuit remake? She has the voice, the attitude, the looks, and thinks she could do great for this role. She auditions and gets the part, then goes on to star in said movie. Does that sound to you like not knowing what to do with minority characters or mistreating them? Actors get work, and they want roles either their agents recommend them or that they want to audition for. If it's on the actor's own accord, is that not an actor standing on their own? Is that wrong in any way? I want you to think about that for a bit before you answer.
I think the real goal of diversity in film should be writing new characters that audiences aren't familiar with that are genuinely interesting. One of the best examples of this is Miles Morales. Before Into the Spider-Verse came out, 90% of general moviegoers had no idea who this was. To them, he was just a new character they invented for this film. But he was a good character first and a black character second. Don't get me wrong, his family and their heritage actually do serve a purpose in the film by fleshing out his character. But the writers decided to focus on his struggle of becoming Spider-Man in a Spider-Man movie. In fact, that's the whole point of Spider-Man. Anyone can wear the mask.
I agree. However, you're saying this after stating that you're against the race or gender swapping of pre-existing characters. If you're fine with Miles being Spider-Man, why did you give a hard sigh for Ironheart earlier? What about her was so bad you had to exhale that much to emphasize? I just want to know why you have this double standard.
At no point in the film does Peter B turn to Miles and say, "How do you deal with being Spider-Man and being black?"
Neither did The Little Mermaid, which you showed earlier.
That sounds like something House would say to Foreman.
Foreman's black.
How long have you been sitting on this information?
The reason the black community idolizes characters like Miles and T'Challa is because to most audience members, they're original characters who are strong, but they still had to earn their strength.
So did Riri in Ironheart, who was literally mentored by Tony Stark, but you never touched on that, apparently. She also has to struggle to get the money to continue her research at MIT.
Just like any other character, they're genuine. At the end of the day, that's really what the goal of diversity and inclusion is. To create a cast of characters that come from different backgrounds, that represent different groups, but they're still good characters.
So explain to me why Riri isn't up on that list. I mean, she struggled with grant money, got loans from shady sources, and finally earned the materials to create her suit with an AI based on her best friend. She's literally what the fuck you're talking about, and you gave her a simple sigh at the beginning.
The Little Mermaid isn't really viewed as a black icon like these guys.
Does she have to be? The only thing I care about is if an actor fits a role well. Race doesn't fucking matter in this context of The Little Mermaid. So why shouldn't Halle Bailey be able to play Ariel in this movie? I mean, she's a beautiful singer. Do you really think someone who can sing this good shouldn't be Ariel?
And I think that's because her existence as a character was the result of corporate box checking.
Not because she's a good actor and generally fits the role well? Just fucking box checking? Look, say what you want about the movie. Love it, hate it, I hate that fucking Scuttlebutt song. But what does Ariel being black matter at all to you?
And not because a writer had an actually good idea and a story to tell with that character. And that's kinda why I think, instead of focusing on recasting these legacy characters, we could use some of that energy to create new, compelling characters that kids can look up to.
Again, how in the fiddle faddle fuck is Halle Bailey's Ariel not someone kids can look up to? Just say it already.
I hated The Little Mermaid especially because in the trailer for the movie, the way she's revealed to the audience is like a gotcha moment. Like, gotcha, she's black, and you're racist.
I'm going to have to put on my fucking double seeing glasses because I can't even begin to see the amount of bullshit coming from you.
That part made me realize that Candles was no doubt getting his information from dumbass grifters and aspiring parrots. Hey, Candles, digging in the butt of grifters is not research. Actual research is actually watching shit, okay?
That's so cynical. Nobody actually cares that she's this way rather than that way. People care because they know that it's not genuine, and you're just making things worse. You're just training the general public to be pissed off anytime a character is a minority, because now they think it's not genuine.
Well, this shit isn't exactly helping you in that regard. It more seems like you're enabling those kinds of assholes to flourish, just like Elon did with Twitter, and look what we have now.
Despite this frustrating trend, there are some modern films and series that have managed to be both woke and good. Arcane, a fantastic example of a series with strong female leads. I personally haven't seen it, but when you've got the critical drinker raving about a female character, you know you've done something incredible.
So you acknowledge he's a misogynist?
Or how about Kitty Softpaws in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? In the original films, she was just the girl character who didn't really have much going on outside of being the love interest. But in The Last Wish, we learn more about her being declawed and how that leads to her being so distrusting of people. Amber Midthunder in Prey, that straight-to-streaming Predator spinoff, another great character.
Oh yeah! You mean the one the drinker criticized in his review of Prey? Did you not see the video where he said Native American tribes wouldn't tolerate that kind of shit?
She's a female character, a female lead, yeah, but she has to learn how to fight a predator. And fighting a predator isn't like fighting a kaiju. You can't just blow them up or knock them down. No, you have to plan, you have to make weapons that can pierce their armor, you have to use the mud to camouflage. There's so much that goes into it. All great female leads that actually grow as characters and prove their worth.
You say while not even acknowledging Riri, who literally did all that trying to build a suit and finish research. Is the word research just white noise to you or something? It only takes you 10 seconds on Google. Even less if you're running it in a fast browser. It's not like it's hard to do the bare fucking minimum.
Ultimately, if it were up to me, I would say that writers should write characters that best fit the story they're trying to tell. Here's an example. Gladiator 2. The movie has gotten some mixed reception, sure, but a couple of characters I think they did right were the emperors. This might be a hot take, but I think they were the best characters in the movie. Because just imagine how the conversation went in the writer's room. We're looking for two emperor characters who are just the biggest, weirdest pieces of shit you've ever met. When you see these characters, you want to slug them in the nose.
Pow, right in the kitchen. Pow, right in the kitchen. Pow, right in the
The most punchable faces in the entire film. And when you cast a character with that mindset, I mean, I think these characters were perfectly cast in that regard. Sure, they're a little unserious and goofy, but they're supposed to be because they're incompetent. Just write a character that fits the story, that's it. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a video like this, but those are my thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you think.
I think you're misinformed and I'm watching the wrong people, but are well-intentioned somewhat.
These topics can be very hard to discuss at times. Despite what the comments will tell you, I'm a straight white guy, so I don't really have the knowledge to speak on things like diversity.
Well, lucky for you, I'm a pansexual white guy and I'll give you a free pass, but only if you promise to do your research next time.
But you know what? I'm kind of over that sentiment too. Just because I'm not of a certain group doesn't mean I can't have an opinion.
Oh. Well, okay then. That's good.
Because when you bar someone from speaking their mind, you discourage conversation about how to improve something. We need to be having these conversations because we actually care about good representation. Representation that creates good characters like Miles, T'Challa. It's something
Girl, come on. There are far more than just two. You should probably do some research.
Important that we need to do. You know, people like the Critical Drinker cater to their audience, sure. And I really don't know what his character is like in real life, but he's having a conversation about what Hollywood needs to do to improve how their female characters are written. Because he wants to see good movies with good female leads. So really, the Critical Drinker is the biggest feminist on YouTube. Let that bake your noodle for a while.
Have you ever even watched a Critical Drinker video? Actually, no, let me propose another question. Have you ever watched a Critical Drinker video about a topic, film, or TV show that you're well versed and knowledgeable in? Did you not see his reviews on Across the Spider-Verse? Glass Onion? The dude has a hate boner for Rian Johnson, by the way. Have you seen his video on The Batman? His Godzilla vs. Kong trailer reaction? The late Sinners video dropped on his other channel instead of the main one? No. No, you haven't. I know because if you actually did, you wouldn't be treating him like a savior of free speech and film discussion. In fact, he'd probably fucking hate you for calling him a feminist. Will Jordan cannot write for shit. And if you'd actually done your research like I recommended so many times, I wouldn't be making this response to your video, Candles. Please gaze upon the things that the people you are defending have actually said.
Goes in the movie after an event that happens off screen where Superman stops an invasion from totally not Russia into totally not brown Ukraine or totally not Israel into totally not Palestine. I didn't see it that way, but if some people see Israel portrayed this way, well, maybe some people working on this film are forgetting who signs their checks and who their agents are.
In the second world, or the normal world, you have people telling you that attraction for opposite sex is somehow sinful, or it's just an invention, or not normal, and acknowledging basic biology, like women and men having differences is somehow evil, or based on some kind of systematic method of control, even though it's a very basic human behavior for brain purposes, and differentiate from one another, just like every other animal in the kingdom that has that biological difference. Every cult loves to tell you what's wrong with you, so they can fix you and have control over you. That's always the thing that happens, like, no matter what kind of cult it is. Most of them are like, people live a cult, people religious cult, people beautiful, and trying to tell you that values that really accepting is wrong, and way to like accepting you, giving you love, family, friends, everything to you, and you need to values so they can re-educate you.
I love nothing more than to be dragged down at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
Now, after all that shit, I am pretty sure you might be wondering, where do I go for answers? And I actually want to recommend you some channels I think might be helpful. First, we have The Birdman, one of my favorite YouTubers and a loud, proud critic of anti-woke grifters. I got a lot of my arguments from this man right here. I genuinely think you should check out his stuff. Maybe I like it. Next we have Pillar of Garbage, who makes very informative videos similar to the Birdman but with his own stuff added in there. His video about Critical Drinker's review of Glass Onion is really good and insightful on a lot of things. And I also think you should have watched that before uploading this video, but oh well, time goes on. Last but not least we have Utterly Noah. He's closer to an actual film critic than Drinker ever was. I really like his videos, and genuinely like his style and how he finds new ways to give true criticism that isn't farming outrage. I have one last message for you, Candles. I know you mean no harm, and I know you're trying to be more neutral on this, but there's a certain extent to how centrist you can be on everything. Don't be too centrist or else you'll end up like Jubilee, who put literal fascist in a debate with an intellectual. And I'm not trying to hate on you or call you stupid, because those are just words. I simply just want you to realize what you did in this space and what it led to. I also most certainly hope you're not another Shohei Kondo. Watch the Birdman's video on him to get the full story. Also, you're a mental health YouTuber. I don't think mental health and culture war YouTuber are in any way similar, so maybe don't quit your day job and actually talk about topics you're actually passionate about. And if you guys watching the video like what you see, be sure to subscribe and like the video, let me know you enjoyed, and I'll probably make more content I'm passionate about. And Candles, please do your research next time. Thank you.